Row Asphalt has submitted a complete bid, and their bid amounts is $550,421.90. 550,421.90. That is all of the bids submitted.
You want a motion to take the bids under advisement?
So later in the meeting?
Later in the meeting?
You say if you're doing it within the same meeting, I don't know that you necessarily need a motion to do it, as long as you're not tabling it for another meeting. So if you're gonna come back, I think you're good. Just go forth and
Is there a reason to table?
We like to look at them, check their arithmetic, make sure the numbers are all good. And it does occasionally occur that there's an arithmetic error in bid, in the apparent initial apparent no bidder could conceivably not be.
I understand.
Okay, so Mark, you and Ron will look at those in the meantime.
He's gonna go ahead and finish the rest
Yeah.
of your agenda. I'm gonna take this computer. Hang on, let's move on now, right out of here.
You just kind of, I don't
Okay, so while Mark's reviewing that, we'll go on with a couple things that Ron has here as well. So the next thing on the agenda has been a little bit of a team sport with Ron and I. We've been working since I got here in January on what does our HVAC system look like, along with some of the building pieces that are wearing. So we've been discussing what that looks like, looking at funding streams and hosting different meetings, including a couple of architecture engineering firms. So I'll let Ron sort of talk about the process a little bit, but just a little bit of backstory. This conversation about HVAC and City Hall issues was ongoing for at least a couple of years, and the council had set aside some funding to address this problem last year as part of our capital improvement funding. So Ron and I have just sort of been moving the ball on that, but I'll let Ron talk about the process and where we are in recommendations.
As the mayor correctly said, the prime motivator for this project is the current HVAC system. We believe that the HVAC system was installed in 1997, 23 years ago. The generally accepted life expectancy of such a system is 25 years, so we're right there. We have experienced, much of the time I've been with the city, difficulties in getting repair materials for the units in the various offices. We have reports from the current maintenance contractor about the condition of the boiler and the flue. There are issues with the chiller. In this particular building, the original part of the building has no operable windows in most of the offices, so without the HVAC system, it's not functional. We are very likely living on borrowed time, and for that reason, there is some feeling of urgency to address this situation. In addition to that primary component, we have looked at what might be viewed as a Christmas list. What are all the things with the property that we could do if we had some money? And a part of this process has been to talk with the financial advisors about what a realistic amount of money to spend on the building could be. And at the same time, we have met with some energy consultants, some mechanical engineers, some architectural engineering consultants, and talked with them about the project. The Christmas list consists of things like the HVAC system, the roof. We're uncertain of the age of the roof, but we believe it goes back to the middle, late 90s. Life expectancy of a membrane roof like we have is 25 to 30 years. we're likely approaching the 25-year mark. In looking at the HVAC system, in talking with some of the energy consultants, there's reason to think that the investigation of improving the R value in the roof will pay some real dividends, some payback in energy use. We know that the technology in the building is going to be pretty outdated. We have a wired network. We have some wireless networking capabilities, but it's really a patchwork system. We know that the audio system in this room, I don't know if any of you ever listened to the meeting recordings, but they're pretty hard to hear. We have no real video capability in this space, so we'd like to look at the technology component. We have the gymnasium that's a big meeting space, but not always functional depending on the activities. We'd like to look at opportunities to improve that space. We have a situation with Kristen's workspace. It's totally unsecured. When we have a meeting in here at night, her desk is just open there. We'd like to get a better handle on that. Our parking lot and back has seen better days. It's probably an item that we'll run out of money before we get to, but it's something to think about. There is a list of 10 or 11 items I think we had. So having worked through all of this, we have spoken with a couple of architectural engineering firms. A couple of them are with us this evening. We have researched their capabilities. They've made proposals to us. The timeline that we envision is that it will take about 6 months from the time we start the detailed investigation of what projects are appropriate, what those projects would look like when detailed out, and what they would cost, and then to develop a set of contract or bidding documents for bidding work that we ultimately decide is appropriate. That whole process could likely take 6 months. One of the things about the HVAC system is there's never a good time to do it. We're either in the heating season or we're in the cooling season. Nonetheless, we feel it's prudent to move the process forward to conduct these further investigations and evaluations. At the same time, we continue to work with financial consultants to see what we can afford, what a reasonable financing plan would look like. So we're really looking at bringing the money side and the cost side together to see where there is a natural convergence of those two items. In order to do that, we need to proceed with the preliminary design phase to evaluate those parts of the building that need evaluation and to provide some better cost estimates so we can see what's doable. After reviewing the proposals that we received, we have investigated the qualifications of the people we've talked to, and for whatever reason, I think we made a very good selection of the firms to propose these services to us. Somewhat unintentionally, we've received input from other people in the industry that suggest these firms are some of the premier people for this kind of work. They have experience with repurposing buildings like this one where it had been a schools, now City Hall. They have in-house mechanical engineering capabilities and architectural service capabilities. They can either one of them put a complete package together for us. And after proper consideration, it is our recommendation that we retain the services of DLZ to work on a renovation plan for City Hall. Did I miss anything there?
No, I think that's very, very well. The goal is to hopefully put it to bid first thing like January 1, 2021, upon funding from the council to actually fund the building project itself. We believe that the contract or the agreement with DLC should get us all the way through the end of the build process, but really we're sort of looking at from their side of things. But we're really
The
looking.
proposed services are phased, so we would need the preliminary investigation, and based on that outcome, along with the financial component, then we would work on the contract documents, plans, specifications, bid package, so that we could be in a position towards the first of next year to actually receive bids.
And what was the name of this company again?
DLC.
TLC.
D is in dog.
D is in David.
Thank you.
We have representatives here from them, if you care to hear from them.
And who would that be? What would be the timeline, would be the guesstimated timeline from beginning to completion?
So I'm Eric Ratz, Principal Architect with DLZ, Mike Even, Vice President from DLZ, and thank you for the opportunity to speak here. So what we have looked at is what we proposed to the mayor and to Ron is to look at a two-phase part of our design. First phase being more the programming, the schematic design of that, and we said that that would take approximately 6 weeks. And within that 6 weeks, what we're doing is we're really developing the scope of work of what is anticipated, as well as the budget of all the items that we're looking at. Is our initial proposal, 7 pages long, of all the different things that potentially could be looked at within the overall project.
You have copies of that?
Yeah, and I've got some extra copies here, but what we're looking at is in approximately about 6 weeks to come back to present to you what the scope of work would be, what the budget would be. Once that is approved, working parallel with the funding, is then it would take 2 to 3 months for us to develop the bidding documents such that you could go and receive bids. From that perspective, we would anticipate maybe 6 weeks from the time that we release the documents to have a pre-bid meeting, to receive the bids, review the bids, and then to procure the contracts between the owner and the contractor for that. So if you look at that, that's 6 weeks and about 3 months to 6 weeks to be able to award the project, all ready for you to be able to start the ground running January 1 or sooner, whatever the case works out for the actual construction. The construction of the project, quite honestly, sir, part of it is going to be dependent on the scope of work, how you occupy the existing building. We all know that if you stay in a space and try to work, that it can prolong the construction, but I think that the construction time would take less than a year, but I think it just really depends on what that time period is. And why I say that is if we do an HVAC, the heating, ventilation, air conditioning upgrade of the project, it could take 3 months to get an air handler on the project. Once you go through a submittal process, you order it, it gets built, delivered to the site, easily could take 3, even 4 months to get that. So that construction period can be a little bit longer than what you might anticipate upfront. Any other questions I can help you with?
And I might add just a little what Eric said. While the construction period could take up to a year, as he said, we may be 2 or 3 months of idle time in the very beginning while the contractor is procuring materials.
And mobilizing the site and getting prepared for construction, yes.
Any other questions for Ron or I, or Eric from DLC? If not, we appreciate a motion to allow, or an agreement to enter into the contract with them to start the process.
Well, this is something that's been needed for a while. It's come, particularly HAB, and we're looking at that. We might as well look at, see what's possible. So I
Chris
this
has
agreement?
looked at the agreement.
Yes.
Please?
Chris has looked at the agreement.
Yeah, I've reviewed.
Yeah, it's pretty standard stuff.
Yeah, the majority of it is standard A1A, architectural standards, standard arbitration and mediation provisions. I will say DLZ has their own, conditions and conditions and terms that are made in exhibit to the contract, that I also found to be acceptable in terms of, beneficial to both sides. It's not written, extensively in their benefit to ours. It's pretty open. So I found it to be a good contract.
So I would move approval of the contract with DLZ for review or preliminary look at needs, costs.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, gentlemen, we
How
have-
many signatures do you need for? You need one, sorry. Okay. We can do copies? Let's just pass them.
Pete, before you leave, board members, I want to introduce Pete Peterson. He's from RQAW. He was another one of the top firms that we interviewed, and appreciate him taking the time to join us this evening, and look forward to working.
Always happy to come out here, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks, sir. And we look forward to maybe working with you on something else in the future.
Absolutely, I'm sure we can find something.
Have a good evening, sir.
Good night.
Thank you.
I'll get you there. I'm sorry.
And there's two signatures required for, there's two folks in the alphabetical order that are on the second page, so if you want to say the first page, it's just where the document works.
Right there. You're going to take care one for us, one for them, and one for lose.
Fred, so I'm just.
Thank you very much, and hopefully, we're all back to normal here soon.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Appreciate it.
Okay, we have one more thing from Ron, and then we're moving on.
I'm here this evening to request permission from the board to dispose of the vehicle used by the city engineer. It got to having this noise in the drivetrain, and so the city mechanic investigated it and discovered that it has 4 locating links in the rear suspension, and 2 of them are rusted completely in 2. Those of you that have seen the vehicle know that it has a rough appearance to it. There's extensive corrosion on the bottom of it, It's the recommendation of the mechanic that we dispose of it through salvage, through selling it as scrap. That it's far enough gone that it's unsafe for transmission to someone else.
Get rid of it.
Yeah, and then Ron and I, so this just came up this last week, and we're talking about what the plan is going forward. So we haven't formulated that yet, but this one's done.
It's a 2003 Ford Expedition that was passed down from the fire department. It's been around a while. And apparently it's lived in a very corrosive environment.
Well, if it's unsafe, then we'd rather get it than else.
Chief Stoermer, would your guys have interest in it for training before we junk it? I think that's fairly typical.
Yeah, I mean, we can use it for education training. I'm not gonna turn down that opportunity.
You probably have some guys over there who hated driving new Windows.
Probably.
If it helps to explain, when the mechanic put it on the lift, he almost refused to lift it off the ground.
I would approve, or move that we authorize disposal of the city engineer's vehicle.
We will. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, here we go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Chief, you're up.
Good evening. I will try to keep this first part short. I have enclosed or included in the packets the WatchGuard. That should be an upgrade, and I believe you have the quote also for that possible upgrade. And if you decide to approve this, this will all be on the condition that the City Council allows for the additional appropriation. I'll go through the quote real quick just to kind of hit some of the points on the letter that I also wrote out. The first option for the 8 cameras, Ethernet, that would be an upgrade to our system because currently we can only download 1 camera at a time. And like I explained, right now we download both in-car and body cameras, and it takes several minutes to do those downloads. So with this, we would actually be able to do up to 8 cameras at a time, with 2 docking stations, so that would be 16. So if we have like a major incident or a TAC call out, all of our officers could come in and sync their cameras, and we would have that video and that within minutes. The software is just an upgrade. Currently, we are running on a software that is several years old. WatchGuard, the representative I deal with, stated he's not sure how it's still working on our systems, but it is. Later on, the council's going to be talking to IT Director Josh Tressler on our server issues that we are seeing, but our server is close to becoming complete and failing quickly. So with the software licensing and the server issue, again, that's why we are wanting to seek that upgrade there. And then, of course, the very last would be the configuration testing, training, and the shipping and handling and all that. So the total comes out to $29,640. Like I explained, I would be able to absorb some of that through the PD's budget with my hopes. I'm not sure to what point that would be right now. Right now, the fuel, my fuel line item is looking very good, but again, we don't know what the future holds for the next few months. At the end of the year, I could possibly do a transfer of money through there. Then we also saved some money by the purchase of 3 vehicles this year, but 2 of those vehicles came in a lot less than what we thought they were on bid, so we'd be able to incorporate some of that money through the machinery and equipment. So again, I'm asking for the board's approval to make this purchase, and if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them now.
Chief, this includes the drive-up.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yes, so included in this would be currently, like I said, we have to bring in a thumb drive through our cars to download. Once officers pull up to the building, it automatically starts to download. If officers have to leave in a hurry, it will stop that download where it's at, and when they return, it will pick up where they left off. So again, it's something that in today's age, the cameras are very, very important, and like I said, I want to make sure that we're ahead of the game on storage and that, so that's why I'm asking for this upgrade.
one of the things that, I'm supportive of upgrading, if we need to do that. You mentioned the server, is it just a matter of age, or is it a matter of the ability to capacity, or both?
Both.
One of the things that I've been hearing, and I know I asked this, and others have asked it, I think, when we started this years ago, in terms of the cameras, was the cost of storage as being prohibitive. At least some places have delayed or not done this because they find it. But you've assured us that that's not a problem. Why is that not a problem for us, and it seems to be for others?
So for right now, we have purchased a couple of extra, I'm sorry, I'm not IT, but storage components where we have added a couple of drives in that, but those 2 drives are quickly filling up. As far as the server, the age of the server is very, very old. It is getting ready to fail. Josh Tressler will be in tonight to look at doing a whole new server for public safety, which will cover us, the fire department, county, jail, everybody like that. So the servers are unfortunately very old, and we knew that this time would come. As far as the storage and how we get away with it, we go by state law. We keep, technically by state law, you have to keep videos for 180 days. With that, we actually go 190 days, just 10 days past that in case we maybe need to go back that 10 days. And that, so right now, one of the, my patrol captains keeps up on deleting those. If we do this upgrade, we can actually set to where after 190 days, we'll automatically download, so that will free up an officer from downloading or deleting the paths that we do not need to keep anymore.
Unless you've got a reason to hold on to that, right?
Correct, so that's what I was getting ready to touch upon now. Another reason why we've been able to help our server, our WatchGuard server function to this point is our CAD system Spillman. Any type of citation, arrest, use of force, anything like that, we automatically put into our Spillman software. So that kind of acts as our kind of a storage space for that.
Okay.
It's the one that is holding it. Like I said, yeah, I would not want to be in a larger city trying to figure out the storage costs and all that. Like I said, we're lucky right now that we've been able to do this for minimal cost. And that, like I said, unfortunately, we are to the life of the servers.
Well, periodically, we're going to have to do this.
Absolutely.
Anything else for the chief?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Okay. Chief, second thing?
Next thing, I know it's not a big thing on the agenda, but for the past couple of years, I've had officers ask about the possibility of them carrying beards. I told them that I would approach the Board of Works. Again, this has been kind of, I put it off for a couple of years. I did advise them that I would kind of grow mine out just to kind of show the Board of Works what we would kind of look like. Right now, we are allowed to have goatees, mustaches, and that. And through a couple of months, we actually participate in benefits to where we raise money. So I have included the old policy plus a new policy to where, if approved, officers will be able to carry facial hair no longer than 1/2 of an inch. If the beard does get longer than that, then they will be asked to go home immediately and shave and make sure that it is cut neatly, and that's something that we will definitely make sure that we are keeping on top of. One thing I'm not sure if it is included, but my question to the board is, if this is approved, I have asked the officers, and they are all in agreement, that every single month that they participate in this, that per the chief's decision on monetary, they would ask to be able to donate so much a month, and that would go into a certain organization. So one month we might hit autism, one month we might hit Down syndrome, and then of course Cancer Association and all that. So it's just kind of a thing where the guys are, will pull together, and we can actually donate also. So they are actually willing to pay a couple or a few dollars a month to have a beer. Again, just kind of go into benefits and fundraising and that for other organizations.
That's voluntary per individual.
Correct.
I do have a question.
Huh?
Is there any safety concerns with like masks that have to be worn, whether entering buildings, gas masks,
Right.
fire?
So currently, no. There is a stipulation in this to where if we do ever get to the point to where we are doing tear gas, right now we do not do tear gas, those officers involved in TAC team would have to shave. and they are understanding of that. So, like I said, fire department, unfortunately, they can't carry something like this because of their gas mask and that, but right now we do not currently use it. But if that point in time comes, then either we would amend the policy or they would have to be understanding that they just have to shave it. If there's a call out, they have to shave it.
You say we have to amend the policy, so the policy doesn't
Well-
spell it out now? That's
I want to say it is, I'm sorry, yes it is. Exceptions to the policy for special assignment must be approved through the chief, and again, that would be, like I said, TAC officers that get called out, they would have to shave before they come in that, if we go to the gas mask.
Well, my opinion is, there's no safety issue with it, and it's kept me waiting. I don't see a problem with it. I think it's great that you guys want to use it to raise money, but if someone wants to carry a beard, I don't know. But that's up to you, if that's the
Right.
program you want to run.
Right. And a lot of my guys actually suggested that they're like, hey, we will pay to be able to wear it. And I'm like, and I've given them that option, so it's something that,
Yeah, I don't think, we'll stipulate that. You could,
Yeah.
work that out.
Yeah, that would have to be volunteer. I don't have a reason to say no. I just know that, you know, the old policy is, you know, it's clean shaven, that's it. It's pretty clear one way or the other. This one, it's gonna require people to, it's gonna require some people making some decisions and judgments and from time to time. And so as long as you're prepared to be able to deal with that in terms of somebody thinking it's not a half inch or it's, you know, and it is, or more or less. And, yeah, I mean, as long as you're willing, I mean, that's just part of that.
no, and I completely agree. Like I said, this year we've actually had a couple officers that came in and I'm like, your pants are kind of looking gray, go home, change. And that, so, yeah, we definitely keep the professional standards up to where they need to be kept groomed and neat
And
dressed.
I appreciate that. I think it's important to do. It's not an either or.
Right, absolutely.
You've got that area where there's gonna be some discretion, and as long as you're willing to have to take that in, accept that responsibility, then that's fine. I don't have a reason to say no either.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor of the policy change, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Chief Stoermer's back.
Good evening again. I come to you with new business. Just recently we acquired a whole new set of self-contained breathing air packs we wear into structure fires, leaving us with a surplus of old. I'm coming to you to get permission to sell those old air packs, bottles, packs, and masks to anyone who is interested within, you know, the fire service. I've talked with the State Board of Accounts and have their guidance or requirements for what has to be posted, what doesn't have to be posted. We can sell them in units of 5 for under $5,000 without any type of advertisement done, or we can sell one under $1,000 with no advertisement of one. So with the 36 that we have roughly, and then probably around 75 bottles, we would group those into units of 5 to sell those without having to open up to a bid process. Only because the departments that we have reached out to and talked to, they're not interested in buying the lot. They're interested in buying what they need or a small amount of that. So this would be the way that I see that would get us the best benefit and the best amount, dollar amount, figure wise. Being able to sell them in smaller amounts than just selling, hey, here's 30 packs, they buy them for an X amount of dollars, and then they're stuck with them whether they want them all or not. So now that we have our packs in service, everyone is trained on them, I'm requesting permission to go ahead and move forward with selling the other ones.
Could we reach out maybe to the Decatur County Volunteer Fire Departments?
We already have.
Okay. That just would be, I mean, because they're local, those are departments that might provide mutual aid. We could provide them some assistance and help them.
Are you wanting us to gift them to them? Is that
No,
a
well,
suggestion?
I mean,
We have reached out, and there are a few departments There's only one department in Decatur County that's currently interested, and that's New Point Volunteer Fire Department, only because their chief just recently retired from our department and knows kind of what they are. If that, we've had hits from around the state of Indiana. I mean, there's been some other interest, but I mean, most of it is what I would say local, within 2 hours of here and things like that. But it's been addressed at the County Fire Chiefs Association that we are selling these, so departments have had more than a month to express interest in them.
What method do you have to make this known to other departments in the state?
So we've put it out, obviously via social media. We've put it out via the State Fire Chiefs Association has a newsletter as well that we're selling them. So we've used and then just word of mouth contact.
Any other questions for the chief? Jamie, did you have any input on the gifting comment, or anybody? Or do we want to?
How many were they looking to get?
I think New Point was wanting 5, and he was, because he worked there, he was wanting the cream of the crop. So, so he was wanting, which is that's he has that knowledge, and that's fine. But we weren't going to sell them at the same cost, even though we were outside of there, but we were still going to try to recoup some of that funding. But if your suggestion is to gift them to them, then obviously we will do that as well.
I'll leave that at your discretion, I guess.
I'm
They're
inclined
the
to-
fire department, I mean.
I'm
they're gonna-
inclined to have a similar thought as you with regard to those who we have mutual aid for. Or if not a gift, make it because of their, and I don't know if we can do that or not, I suppose we could. We could make it at a much more attractive rate than, and that would go then for the other local fire, Decatur County fire departments, volunteer fire departments. If they bulked at the price, if it's another price that's much more attractive.
I would recommend checking with the Board of Accounts, because I'm doing this off my top of my head, but I feel like the statute that authorizes sale requires a commercially reasonable. So you'd be better off to gift them than to sell at a discount,
Okay.
because you might lock yourself into a position of having to sell
All
all of them
Gotcha.
at the lower amount. But I certainly think you could. Certainly think you could gift them. Donate them to other organizations. As you
So
said.
we've done that with the other equipment.
Right.
Before.
Right.
Donated.
I would say that would be my only suggestion
Yeah,
prior
I agree.
to.
That makes sense.
Did you say what you were planning to use the funds raised for this for?
The funds will go to offset the cost of the ones we bought. I don't believe that money
For
will
the
go.
ones you bought in your budget?
No, that came out of public safety.
I just worry if you say they're free, then all the local fire departments will say, yeah, we'll take all, whatever you have.
I
No,
believe-
no, I
Because
think-
there's no money.
No, at this point in time, he said one local department over a month, so, I mean, maybe, and they're asking. for
Yeah, I mean,
5 days,
I would
that's
say
not-
that if they find out we're giving them away, that then obviously the interest will peak. Only because of that, but I mean, again, they're not doing anybody any good collecting dust here in the storage room right now.
I'll make a motion to authorize the disposal, at your discretion.
Oh, thanks.
How about that?
That's the book.
I'll second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Right.
Those opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Superintendent Smith.
Thanks, Chief.
I got have 4 different items on the board about improvements in the wastewater treatment plant. The first item is I'd like to do a tentative bid award to C&H/M Excavating. They were the low bidder at our last bid opening last night. Strand reviewed the bids. Everything was fine. So tentatively, we'll give them the award. Contracts will then be drawn up. They have to be approved by SRF yet too, so then we come back probably next month or so and award that, sign them off. bid was $829,517, and it was the lowest one.
HMC.
C and H,
See, I'm dyslexic.
C and H/M excavating, they're out of Milan.
I would move approval of tentative award for the contract CHM excavating.
Okay, is there a second? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
Second item, I give you a resolution. I needed one written Thursday. I got a hold of Chris and got it to me Friday. That's why it wasn't in the packets. I'm gonna give him pretty late notice, because I got the pretty late notice. I needed one. It's a resolution that gives the mayor authority to sign the SRF paperwork. There you go. We signed one, beginning construction project last time. This was the mayor elected. He needs to be able to sign all of it.
I would move approval of resolution 2020-9, authorizing Mayor Marsh to approve SRF documentation.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
You start signing. Yeah. The other one is to award a contract through ARA. They will be doing the labor standards. In other words, once the contract is approved, they start construction. We will watch and make sure that the contractor is paying the proper wages they ask for the state requirements. I tried to do that a long time ago. There's a lot of red tape to it, so they have to look at it. They look at it monthly for each employee, and they certify the labor. The cost of there is a flat cost of $5,000, and ARA has done this for our project. I think they're doing it for also for the water plant right now. They're really to work with. So I just need a motion to go ahead and give this thing done.
I move approval of the contract for labor standard services with ARA. Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
Thank you. I got one more. This is my last one. I need to amend addendum number 2, task order number 19-3. It's for Strand. It has to do with increasing our charges on construction project from $10,000 to $16,500. Part of it was due to, once we had to stop the bid, had to re-advertise, they had to go back and change a lot of documentation, had to recontact all the contractors and bidders to make sure they had everything right. They was doing this right, so that's what the extra cost is. And they have to change some documents that they're going to be sending to SRF. And that change would be for an increase of $6,500 for the present contract. Would be my recommendation to go ahead and do this. If we don't, I won't do it. Proceed and finish out the rest of what we started.
Better get it done.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Dr. Dean, I need 2 signatures. Thank you very much. I'll just pick that up after.
Sounds good. Okay.
Yep, send this one to second page there.
you're here this evening about a new pickup.
New flatbed truck. Good evening. I have had it budgeted and I'm looking to replace a 2008. We've made numerous repairs on it. Right now it's sitting in bay and fluids run out of the bottom of it as fast as you pour them in the top of it. I believe, I checked the odometer today, it's got like 183,000 miles on it. 12 years old and it's seen the better days. You should have in your packet found 3 quotes from the 3 local dealers. We actually had it spec'd to where the equipment is almost identical, or as close to identical as we could get with the various packages they offered. I thought the bids were fairly close. And my recommendation is we take the low bid of $37,199 received from me from Woody.
Question,
Yes.
okay? The bids are close. From your experience working with multiple vehicles, would the maintenance cost for each vehicle be pretty much the same?
Yes.
Is there anything special?
No,
about
we
the
do
one you want?
all the work ourselves in-house. So we have our own mechanics, so we do
Right.
all of our own repairs. The maintenance cost.
But my question deals with the particular vehicle itself.
We've got all 3 brands sitting in the
That's
fleet.
what I needed to know.
I can't say one's better than the other or one costs a lot more than the
Okay.
other. We're able to buy a majority of our parts through a NAPA on a group purchasing program, so there's not a lot of variation.
You've answered my question.
And to make sure I didn't let them go choosing their own bed, I went and got a bed quote from a vendor that works with all 3 of them. That way I knew I was comparing apples to apples as far as the hydraulic systems of the beds. So that's why I know they're as close to possible to being identical as they can be.
Makes sense. Any other questions for Mark? Okay. Is there a motion to purchase the Dodge from Acre Automotive?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, here we are.
Thank you.
Okay, Ron, you're back up, and we are about out of time.
And about out of my list. Good evening again. I neglected to share with you earlier the engineer's opinion of probable cost for the CCMG paving program was $474,594.04. So the engineer was not the low bidder. That's always good for the engineer. We have reviewed the bids as submitted, checked the arithmetic. Dwenger Contractors Incorporated proved out to be the low bidder at $436,492.65. And it is my recommendation to you that the contract be awarded to Dwenger Contractor Incorporated. The form of agreement that we propose to use is an accepted Form 96 that will become the agreement for the project if you so approve.
Can we approve that conditionally upon being able to dig deeper into that bid and make sure it's got everything?
That's what we just done.
Well, you're satisfied? Okay. I didn't know if you'd had a chance to really review it all.
I ran math on all 5 of them.
So the arithmetic checks, the contract documents are detailed specifications, generally built on Indiana Department of Transportation standard specifications. It makes the work standard to the industry, if you will. And it is our duty to hold the contractor to perform to the provision specifications. We've controlled the variables as best we can